you doing, everybody? Raven's Eye Studio 21 here, reviewing Savage Crucible's Veteris Rapax. This is the latest Lemurian to drop from the Savage Crucible line. As we'll go into it, we'll take a look at the first head that comes with it. It is the unarmored head. You take a look at it, the texturing, the paint, the articulation of the jaw, and a spectacular job on the part of the Savage Crucible team. When looking at how they applied the paint, you'll notice the different speckling and different coloration. If you look into the storyline behind Veteris Rapax, you'll understand the paint, the blood paint apps that go along with this figure, and it is spread across the entire figure. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the clawed hands. These are the second set of hands that come with the figure. Again, the detailing in the paint apps just brings out the true texturing in these figures and the sculpt of these figures. It truly adds another element to this figure and to the whole figure line. Another outstanding thing that Savage Crucible brings to figures are accessories, such as this bullwhip. The Wave 1 came with 2 accessory packs, and all the other waves going forward also come with this accessory pack that you can pick up. And a lot of them come up with these fantastic weapons. If you take a look at this, the detailing in the paint app, the design, from the chipped edges to the strong structure of these weapons, it just looks like this came freshly from battle. Next up, we have a very stylized long sword. Blood apps applied to this weapon just enhance its usability and its function. And again, goes along with the storyline of this figure. The hilt, the pommel, everything on this, very intricately designed, much like this next weapon. You'll notice on the edges of this one, they are also really chipped, looking very battle-worn. Again, handle, pommel, hilt, very detailed, very well done. Now, this is probably my next favorite weapon that they have dropped. It's a saber. And while this one does not have the blood effects, you can still see the battle-worn nature along the edge, along the blade itself. The gold detailing mixed with the black handle just brings so much life to this weapon and for this figure. I'm going to take a look at the figure armored. You'll notice shin armor, bracers, shoulder pauldrons, helmet, chest piece, scabbards on the sides. The armor does not get in the way of articulation too bad with the head, especially with this being a crowned helmet as such as it is, and the spikes along the side. The pauldrons do add a little bit of resistance to upward arm movement off to the side, but with a little heat, you can get those to kind of soften up a little bit. You can move them forward, stretch them all the way back. But again, the armor does kind of restrict the movement a little bit. The bracers, those bracers do not restrict much movement at all. They do have double jointed elbows and double jointed knees. You'll see the armor on the side of the waist armor kind of restricts the legs a little bit. But I mean, if you're armored, you're really not going to get that much movement anyways. So you can get, pretty decent posing with the armor on. The feet, which we'll go into a little deeper once I remove all the armor, has the forward back motion, the rocking ability, side to side. These feet are the newer feet. They do not have the toe articulation from the original wave, which I love. But these feet do make it easier for you to stand your figure up if you do just want to pose it up in your display. The figure also comes with tail articulation, articulated tail. Now, you can move side to side, but your up and down movement is going to be slightly restricted by that waist armor. But your side to side, you can get it off to the side of that armor and still have it posed really well. The ab crunch, upper torso articulation just make this a beast of a figure to pose. Looking at the armor, much like the weapons and the texture and detail of the figure itself, the company has gone into deep, deep detail in fine-tuning the look of the armor, the design, applying the proper paint apps to match the figures. That's like my other favorite one, the Royal Guard. The pauldrons, the arm bracers, the waist armor, the chest armor, helmet. This figure is designed to be a beast of a figure to pose and shoot in your toy photography or just on your display. The helmet, it does not get restricted by those sharp, and trust me, sharp points on the chest armor and shoulder armor. Finally, we take a look at the secondary head on the figure armored up. Again, no movement issues, perfect articulation. Next, we're going to take a look at the figure unarmored. Moved all the armor except for the bracers and the shin armor. If you look at the figure, the blending of the paint, the striping, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, even the blood effects placed on the figure, everything just works so well together. Front, back, tail. They've taken a look at every aspect of this figure and found a way to really bring out the texturing of the sculpt itself, and the paint apps just bring the figure to life. And we check the articulation. Jaw articulation comes down, head movement, up, down, left to right. You can spin the head all the way around. The arms come up to a higher T pose without the shoulder pauldrons there. Legs, again, without the armor attached to the waist, you get a wider range of movement. Bring the legs back down, bring the arm back down. There's so much articulation on this figure. Arms go all the way up. And one of the greatest things I've found about this toy line is the arm articulation. You have these butterfly joints that allow you to cross the arms over, and this is with the arms outstretched still. This isn't even with the double bend in the elbows, so the posing capabilities of this figure are almost endless. You have the upper arm swivel, you have swivel in the elbow, you have double jointed elbows. You can bring it all the way down. The bracer does kind of affect a little bit of that second elbow motion. Your hands, your twist, your bracers twist. You have forward and back motion in these wrists, and the closed hands, you have up down articulation. Again, this ab crunch is crazy. All the way front, all the way back, almost a 90-degree angle. There's so many things you can do with this type of articulation, and that's what makes this figure line so amazing. Actually, take a look at the swivel, the thigh swivel. So you have you have your hip, then your upper thigh. Your knees, you have twisting the knee down where the knee joint joins the armor. Plus, you have double jointed knees. So you can bring that leg all the way up. Bringing it back down, we're going to take a look at the feet. Now, again, these are the new flat feet. They were one piece. Look how much articulation you have in that joint. And then the rocking motion. If you're into posing your figures in dynamic action shots, this articulation just allows for that. And here's the tail. The tail does go up quite a bit. The articulation of the tail adds, in my opinion, adds a lot to the figure. And again, going for that dynamic posing. Another fantastic feature with Savage Crucible is the ability to swap heads, and the amount of different head sculpts you get from the other figures or the Huntsman's pack or the Armory pack or any of the pack that's going forward. They are all interchangeable with every figure, and they all add something new to the figures you already have. You can take, these different heads and kind of army build. if you're like me and buy multiple figures, this makes it easier to have a set amount of figures that are completely different, yet they're all based off the same original mold and sculpt. These different heads with Veteris Rapax that came from the Huntsman's pack have the same paint applications and coloration, so they blend perfectly well with this new figure. And it's another way that Savage Crucible allows you to, really expand upon your collection and get a new experience with everyone that you buy. And for those that are like on a budget, you can buy some of the base figures and a couple of these accessory packs, and that gives you the opportunity to have what seems like multiple figures from the line, and the versatility of, if you're taking like toy photography or display, having a different look to your figures, depending on what you want to shoot or depending on the story you want to tell. Possibilities are almost endless when it comes to this aspect of Savage Crucible. From this frilled head as well, place on there, and you have a different look with every head sculpt that you put on there. And with the exception, maybe a couple heads, they do all have a jaw articulation, which just intensifies whatever looks you can imagine for your figures, for your posing, or your photography. Next, we go to size comparison. I've gathered a bunch of my different figures. This is a Joy Toy 1/18 compared to the Veteris Rapax, and this is the Fury Toy Veteran William. Next up, we've taken a Mythic Legion and a G.I. Joe Classified. Finally, we have the McFarlane Spawn figure. One of the most awesome things about Savage Crucible are the mysteries. First, it was a card. With Veteris Rapax, they dropped these recrafted weapons from some of the original figures in the line, such as Como Sword, but they've added a twist to them. They've given them the translucent blades. Now, there are many different versions out there of the same weapon with different coloration. I was lucky enough to get 2 blues of the weapons and a green of one of my favorite swords, the Como Sword. The icing on the cake to any Savage Crucible figure is definitely the packaging. From the outside artwork to the storyline on the inside flap, the map of Lemuria on the inside insert, to the placement and presentation of the figure and the accessories on the inside. Truly amazing and phenomenal line. I highly encourage you rush out there, grab some, enjoy them, take some pictures, display them, and always remember, stay savage. Here are just a few pictures of this amazing figure. All right, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell.